Thanks in large part to Sigmund Freud, today we accept that many higher processes, thinking, learning, creating, and simply living, are powered by unconscious processes of mind, instincts, desires, memories, and reactions hidden from our consciousness. Today, this study of the unconscious continues on two different levels.
When I say ready, I want you to be alert, attentive. Don't blink your eyes until I say blink. Ready?
The word fear was just flashed in front of you and the subject in this experiment. In all likelihood, you didn't notice it, but almost certainly your mind saw it and responded. It was flashed to you subliminally.
Subliminal refers to any stimulus which is presented so quickly, let's say if it were visual, or it could be auditory, so low, that the person cannot experience it consciously. Nevertheless, there are various ways of demonstrating that it enters the mind, that it is processed by the brain, and can have certain effects on the person's thinking and feelings.
Howard Chevron's object in this experiment is to come to grips scientifically with the Freudian concept of the unconscious. This college student suffers from a fear of talking in class, a fear Dr. Chevron believes derives from his unconscious conflict in appearing wild and disrespectful. Indeed, the words wild and disrespectful are flashed before him subliminally, at a thousandth of a second. The electrical activity at the surface of his brain tells a fascinating story. At the top, a brief stroke when the word wild was flashed subliminally. Below, 1/4 of a second later, the brain responds with a sharp burst of activity. Here, the evidence suggests the brain reacts directly and immediately. Now when the charged word wild is flashed slowly enough to be seen, the effect is totally different. At the top, the notch indicates the word has been flashed. On the bottom line, the reaction time is delayed and delayed and delayed. In fact, twice as long for his brain to acknowledge the sight of the word wild.
Well, there's a very suggestive conclusion that one can reach, and that is that for some reason, when the words are presented superliminally, that is, so the subject can actually see them quite consciously, there is some kind of inhibition or delay of the brain's response to those words, which is of great interest to us from a psychoanalytic standpoint because it suggests a link to Freud's idea of repression. There is reason for this person to repress those unconscious words and their related ideas and feelings because to become conscious of them would be very, very distressing to him.
From these fine tracings, an image of our mind emerges. It suggests that all stimuli to our brains are first received unconsciously, then selectively filtered into consciousness. It is this filter system that takes the time.
I think that what we're trying to do is to demonstrate that what is meaningful to the mind has an existence in the brain. It isn't simply a matter of synapses. It isn't simply a matter of electrical activity or biochemical activity. That what is going on is part of the meaningful transactions of a human life.
Dr. Chevron has extended these findings into the clinical setting. He subliminally exposed psychiatric patients to a series of words, some of which represented psychological conflict for that individual. The brain responses to these words suggest that the brain can subliminally identify the conflict words, whereas the mind then seeks to defend against their conscious recognition.